All right, my magical friends, we are live and we're testing something. So before I go live, um, or I should say I'm live before I dive into today's topic, we are working on something to make sure it works. So bear with me. Please bear with me. Let me see if it'll do this. Mm, hmm. No, doesn't do it. Hold on. It says it's supposed to show up. It's not showing up. Okay, hold on. Um, hmm. Hmm. All right. Well, we're going to get to today's topic. So just 1 second. Um, that is not good. It is not good. Let's see. Just trying to find something. So that is not good. Hmm. Okay. Did it to that one. Hmm. Not working. It's not working. Okay. Oh, come on. Go. Hmm. Okay. All right. I just sort of guess we're just going to have to go with it. So, welcome everybody. Today's topic is are your past traumas causing your body to keep weight on? And I wrote that topic because what I was looking at is that a lot of people who are trying to lose weight or have a sort of distorted body image usually have some sort of trauma living in their body, and either they know the trauma's there or they don't know the trauma's there. And there are lots of instances in which people may have gone to healers or sort of had a cathartic release or did ceremonies or whatever it is, and the trauma in their worlds they think got resolved, but what happens a lot of times is that the memory of the trauma is still stuck in the cells of the body, or the imprint of the memory of the trauma still stuck in the body. And so I've noticed this for a lot of people who have trauma at a young age, and at a young age they develop a pretty um, loud sense of insecurity. And so, particularly when it comes to their body image and what they physically look like, and if they have a distorted sense of what they physically look like, and they have a lot of trauma living in their system, and that trauma hasn't been energetically removed out of the cells of the body. What I've noticed is no matter how hard you try to go on a diet or lose weight, it tends to be short lived. And so people who have a lot of trauma that haven't resourced the trauma and still have some sense of insecurity, particularly when it comes to their body image, they will cycle with their bodies and not be able to keep the weight off because underlying their behavior is this need to use their bodies to change to make them feel better about themselves. Now, I know that might sound crazy, and I want you to kind of follow along with me in this regard. But the point is that if you've had a lot of trauma in your system and you haven't been able to keep the weight off, it's not your fault. It's not because you're big boned. It's not because you have a slow metabolism. Yes, those things might be occurring, but the reason those things are occurring are not your fault. It's from the trauma. And so when you have sort of trauma living in your system and you haven't navigated the trauma, and I'll tell a story in a second to illustrate this concept, and you haven't dealt with what's underneath the trauma, then your body is living in fight or flight or fawn or freeze. So it's the four F's in psychology, and it's fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Now, a lot of people know what fight is, right? It's like you get triggered and you want to fight everybody, right? Defend, right? The flight is you get triggered and you're like, I got my running shoes. If any of you have seen Runaway Bride, a movie with Julia Roberts, yes, I'm aging myself. And then the other one is freeze, which most people know when you get triggered, you freeze and you don't know what to do and you're kind of catatonic. The fourth one, not as many people know about, or it's not just as well known, which is fawn. And fawn is this energy when you get triggered, you try to people please the people around you, particularly the one that's causing the trigger, and you go into let me appease you, let me please you, let me make sure you're okay. Because if I know you're okay, you're not going to abuse me, you're not going to violate me, you're not going to attack me. Or it also, especially in intimate relationships, it keeps the peace in the relationship, but the person doing the fawn does not feel safe. So it can be really problematic. And so if your body and if your system goes into fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, and you're not even aware that your body's in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, and you go to eat a salad, when our bodies are in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, all of our resources, all of our energy, our metabolism, our blood, our vitals, our heartbeat, our palms, our brain are all catered to survival. So all of a sudden, you don't know you're in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. You're in survival mode. Everything in your body is in survival. And when you're in survival mode, what do? You hoard your energy, you hoard your resources. Now, when people are triggered, a lot of people who are addicted to food use food as a way to satiate. So they get triggered, they go to the fridge, they have some pretzels, they have some ice cream, they have a snack, maybe they eat a bigger portion for dinner than normal because they're sitting around the people they're triggered by. Your body is in survival mode. And when it's in survival mode, it's going to hoard all the calories you're eating. So it doesn't matter if you're eating a salad, right? Let's say you go on a diet, but you're not even knowing you're in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. And you're like, I want to lose some weight. So you eat a salad. Your body's going to hoard that food as sort of storage because it's in survival mode. It can't metabolize, it can't digest it. Why? Because it's in survival mode. Because with me, this is kind of crazy. And so you'd be so surprised at so many of us, including those that might be doing their emotional and energetic work. They might be doing their intimate relationship work, right? Because that's what intimate relationships are. They're designed to help you work on yourself, to get better, to become greater, to get rid of your triggers, or to at least evolve around them, to wake up. And so all of a sudden, right, you're like at a restaurant, you hear a loud noise, you don't even know it, but your system gets triggered. You go into fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. You're eating a delicious meal, but your body is in survival mode. So it hoards what you're eating. No wonder why you can't lose weight. And what's even more is that the trauma or the trigger hasn't been acknowledged, right? And right now, we are at a time where a lot of people's nervous systems are in survival, right? Fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. A lot of people are hanging on. And so, guess what? The body can't digest the food. It can't metabolize the food. It can't energize the food. It can't use the food as a resource. Instead, it hoards it and guards it and reserves it and saves it. And then you wonder why you're stressed, why you can't lose weight, why you feel lethargic, why you have no energy, because your system has been in survival mode. Because with me, is this an aha? And so, if you're not even knowing it, and I'm going to tell a story in a second about my own life experience and this aha I had recently in the last year. So, I used to teach a lot of classes on different topics, and I still teach classes on different topics, but I'm sort of moving towards teaching people about, you know, specifically awareness, trauma, um, thriving, but energy. Like, how do you do energy? I'm dealing with a lot of people right now in a positive way that are waking up, and this is new for them. And they're having these like come to Jesus moments with themselves and their body and their spirit and their relationships, and they're needing support in that way. And so I love nothing more than supporting people through their waking up process, through their, genius moments of their life, because I think it's really important to be a resource. And there's a lot of things that sometimes it's hard to make sense of, right? Like sometimes you get a rash and you think it's because of your clothing or food, but it might be a past lifetime trying to get out of your body. It might be triggered by someone you recently met. It might be triggered by someone you're, sort of changing the dynamic of your relationship with. You might start getting headaches when you go to certain places on the planet or get on planes or certain environments. That's your body sort of waking you up to an energy. It's trying to evolve, right? And and our bodies are constantly trying to transform and evolve energies, stuck energies, awake energies, light energies, all of it. So let me tell a story that sort of hits home on this: are your past traumas causing your body to keep weight on? But you could also say, like, are your past traumas causing your body to be in pain constantly? Are your past traumas causing the migraines you've been experiencing? Are your past traumas causing your body to, go into like some sort of a dis-ease or panic attacks or anxiety, like things that you can't really explain, that you keep trying to heal, but you haven't quite been able to truly change it for good. And if that's true, then this conversation might resonate with you, right? And so I'll give you this story. So I wrote a book called Don't Diet, Be Happy. And if you haven't seen the book, I highly recommend checking it out on Amazon. Don't Diet, Be Happy by Katherine McIntosh. And um, so I wrote the book, and as I was sort of navigating, um, finalizing the chapters, I was asked to write an author's note. And the recommendation from these literary agents was, hey, we think that you need to write something about why you wrote this book because we look at you, we look at your body, and we don't understand why you wrote a book about dieting. We don't understand why you wrote a book about, losing weight when clearly you don't look like you need to lose weight. And I was like, oh. So I had to kind of explain my story, how I've lost and gained probably close to, I mean, really, I think in the book I wrote 1,200 pounds, but I think if we're honest, it was probably close to 2,000 pounds I've lost and gained over the course of my lifetime. That's a lot of weight and not a lot of time. Right. And so they went, well, you need to tell your story. And so I started to write kind of where the beginning of where I didn't feel safe in my own body, where I didn't feel safe in my own house, or I would look in the mirror and instead of seeing a fit, athletic, toned, beautiful human being, I saw someone who was fat, ugly, insecure, and not enough. And I literally had, like, through my eyes, body dysmorphia, which a lot of people, when they've dealt with traumas, have. And so I'm started to tell the story of what happened. I was 17 and got into a physical altercation with my brother, and it got to a point where he basically tried to at least if he didn't try to, he certainly threatened to take my life. And I had a very sharp butcher's knife sitting on my artery on my neck. Now, you can imagine this would be quite traumatizing. And I ended up leaving my house. I ended up moving in with my best friend several miles away. And I had the best summer of my life because this was towards the end of spring, going into the summer of my senior no junior year of high school. So I was going into my senior year, and you know, kind of processed the trauma, went to therapy every week, kind of, was able to be in a new environment. So I wasn't as triggered. So I was able to heal. I was able to sort of relax. My nervous system was relatively resourced for as good as a teenage 17-year-old female nervous system could be. And it wasn't until I moved back home to start my senior in high school, I wouldn't say I was forced, but things that were extremely important to me were going to get taken away if I didn't move home. So I moved home. And in the first several months of my senior year in high school, I gained quite a bit of weight. Like, we're talking 20 pounds. And as a 126, 130-pound, very muscular, very fit, very athletic, incredible soccer player, as that really had a toll on me. And it didn't make any sense. It's not like I was binging and stuffing my face. I mean, I was using food a little bit, um, but it didn't really make sense. And it wasn't until I started to write the author's note in the book where I went, oh, and I realized that that moment, even though I had processed the trauma of, what had happened, when I moved back into my house, I didn't know it consciously. I didn't feel safe. And because I didn't feel safe, whatever I ate, I couldn't digest. I started having stomach problems. I started having inexplicable pains. I started unexplainably gaining a ton of weight. And I was really active. I was doing anywhere from 2 to 4 hours of after school activities, physical activities. So volleyball, soccer, running, downhill skiing. Like, I was doing something physical for at least 2 hours every day after school. So this 20 pounds of weight did not make any sense. right? You guys with me on this? And so what happens is when you are in an environment where unbeknownst to you, you don't feel safe. So if you move somewhere and all of a sudden your body starts inexplainably gaining weight, it might be because your body has a memory of that environment, either from this lifetime or another lifetime, that all of a sudden it's triggered and it doesn't feel safe, but you don't know that you don't feel safe. It's not cognitive, it's not conscious. And so digestion breaks down, metabolism breaks down, uh, using your food for fuel breaks down. So you start to hoard whatever you're eating because your body's in survival mode. So, for those of you listening who are like, oh my gosh, Catherine, this is making so much sense. I know it's kind of like mind blowing to me how many people I work with who struggle with eating disorders or body dysmorphia or their physical image in which they've had some massive trauma. But and even though they might have gone to therapy or, danced it out or worked with shamans or worked with healers or worked with energy people, they still have in their system this thing that keeps activating that they don't feel safe. So the body goes into survival mode, fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, and then their body can't process the food properly. So if you're like, whoa, what do you do when that happens? Well, that's something that I love doing. And so one is just to acknowledge that your body's in survival mode and to work with the nervous system to eliminate the traumas out of the body. It can actually be really easy and really quick. I'm not going to do it on this call because I don't like it's easier to do it when I'm face to face with people, even if it's on a group coaching call, right? Which are things we can do actually this weekend. And if you're like, oh my God, I'm coming, you are invited. I'm doing a 3-day live workshop online. So from the comfort of your own home, in which we are going to actually dive into these places and not from you telling your story, because you've probably already done that a lot. We're going to go into acknowledging the energy that's stuck, like as if an elephant is sitting on your nervous system. And then we pull the elephant off so your metabolism, so your blood, so your body can start to like function at its most optimal and healthy way. And I have been teaching this workshop, these types of workshops for almost a decade. It is definitely something um, I just love to do. It's one of my favorite things, and I love watching people have those moments where they've been suffering for a very long time, and then all of a sudden, the things change. And the way the workshop is designed has evolved over the last 10 years. No two 3-day live events are the same. You can do it online from the comfort of your own home. It's a third of the price of what it used to be. So it used to be $14.97. It's now only $4.97. And you'll get the recordings of the class, which you can listen to and take with. You can ask me any question. You get live personal facilitation. There's so many beautiful things that occur in this process. And so if you're like, wow, that sounds really cool, you're invited and you can go check it out. So it's www.katherinemcintosh.com/, right? It's capital D, capital D, capital B, capital H underscore 2022. And you can find on there, you can also just go to the homepage, katherinemcintosh.com, and search for Don't Diet, Be Happy 3-day live events. And you'll find on the homepage that live event, and you can join us online. We start on Saturday, and yeah, pretty exciting. So the point is that, if you are somebody who has tried to change something about your physical body and you've been trying to change something about your physical body for a very long time and it hasn't permanently shifted in a way that works for you, then chances are there's some unresolved trauma and that is activating this survival mode in your nervous system. And when that survival mode in your nervous system is activated, it's really hard for your body to digest and process and metabolize. And so you've been hanging on to sort of unexpressed trauma in the form of weight, in the form of pain, in the form of suffering, in the form of, degeneration, in the form of aging, like so many things. So if this is resonating with you and you would like to see, and let's say you catch this video way after the live event has happened. We're always doing live events in different places. And there's also a lot of other online learning resources that you can kind of um, choose that will allow you and give you a sense of space and freedom. You can also sign up for a private session with yours truly where we do it online, on video, or on the phone. And you get to have the recording and sort of process this for yourself. So, um, yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about something that I don't think many people are talking about is that if you're struggling with your physical body, particularly weight or, you know, autoimmune deficiencies or chronic fatigue or something in your body that you haven't been able to resolve, it might be because you have this trauma that's in your system that you thought you healed, but it's sort of activated and your body's in this survival fight, fight, fawn, or freeze, but you don't know it. And until you change the vibration of the fight, fight, fawn, or freeze and get rid of whatever is keeping your body in survival mode, then no matter what action you take, or what diet you go on, or what doctor you go see, or what healer you go see, it won't actually change until you address what's underneath it. So I hope that serves as something that resonates with you or can contribute to you on your journey. Because, my friends, we are at a time where, holy cow, things are changing and they're changing at a really rapid pace. And a lot of things are resurfacing. So traumas that we thought we healed, they're resurfacing. Body patterns or life patterns or addictions that we thought we healed, they're resurfacing. The energies that we thought we finally overcame, they're resurfacing right now. And if you are sitting with it, celebrate that. Why? Because when it resurfaces, it comes up to be healed, to be transformed, to be changed. So you're not screwed up. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your body. You're simply stuck in something that you need support on. And whether you go, seek support from a friend or a class or something, or walk into the woods for a day with yourself, right? Like, there is hope and it is possible to change it. So that's all I have to say to you. I thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Sorry for the long pause in the beginning. We're trying to stream these to other platforms and it's not so we will work on continuing to resolve it. But I thank you for being patient with me today and for staying on live and watching and listening. And I look forward to seeing you either on the live class or somewhere in the world or meeting you in person. And until next time, keep staying true to you. My friends, you are brave and courageous for continuing to be here. You are a survivor and you were meant to thrive and have a life that feels lit up and exciting and nurturing and so much more. So until next time, keep the magic going and we'll see you on the other side.